6:52 this Saturday morning, and it's the former Millwall, Chelsea striker, Tony Cascarino, and me, Natalie Sawyer, as we take you through until 9 today. At 5:30, we've got a huge West Midlands derby to look forward to as Aston Villa take on Wolves. Villa currently sit 3 points in front of 5th place Tottenham and therefore can ill afford any slip-ups. Bear in mind Spurs play earlier in the day as they host Luton. Currently housed inside the top half of the table, Wolves have exceeded expectations in the Premier League this season. You can tell it's our Wolves supporting producer who's written this script, but he might be well right with regards to Wolves. That being said, and here's some honesty from him as well, they will be licking their wounds following that dramatic 3-2 loss at home to Coventry in the FA Cup a fortnight ago before the international break. The Wolves manager, Gary O'Neill, has been the cause of speculation this week as he was linked to Old Trafford with a coaching role, and he was asked about it in his pre-match news conference.
No truth. I don't know where it came from, and obviously I've heard about it. But yeah, I think firstly, growing up, Liverpool and Manchester United always felt special, two real special clubs. So firstly, an honour to be linked, even though there is no truth in it. As you can imagine, all of my focus on, we have 12 fit senior outfield players, and we're about to go into a 3-game Premier League week. So I'm sure you guys know me well enough to know that all of my focus will have been on that and how we try and help the group get through what is going to be a difficult week, but one that we're really looking forward to. So no, of course, when your name is mentioned with one of the biggest clubs in world football, it's an honour, but as I've said, I love it here. I'm a head coach. I'm always going to be a head coach, and I'm really enjoying my time at Wolves.
So honoured to be linked with Manchester United, but as he says there, now he's in this first team head coach position. Why would he want to leave Wolves or wherever he ends up being, perhaps to become somebody's assistant, if you like? It did seem a strange rumour in some ways. Do you think?
Yes, and I think he sounded quite awkward about it, didn't he? As in, it's fantastic, lovely being linked to it, but he's got a job to do. And I've spoke about Gary a few times. I bump into him every now and again, and he lives locally, and and he always seems very feet on the ground about Wolves. Yeah, about the job in hand, and he's really pleased with the season. What I like about this game is Villa have had a really good home record. Up until late, it's suffered a little bit, but they've had a really good home record this season. Mm-hmm. Wolves have won 5 away games now out of their 14. They're capable of going to somewhere and win, like they did at Spurs. They're that sort of team where they'll cause you problems from different areas of the pitch. They've had a number of issues. Both teams have got quite a big backlog of injuries. Both teams. They've been. I mean, there's a few out today for Villa. Even people like Matty Cash, who right back, and they've had Mings out all season. Go through their team. They've had quite a few. Sure. Wolves are the same. Yeah. It does seem to be piling up for a lot of teams, very much so. Villa then, as we mentioned, can ill afford a slip-up. Bear in mind, Spurs play earlier, and they're only 3 points behind Spurs with a game in hand. They're taking on Luton, who have their challenges as well. As for Wolves, despite the disappointment of that FA Cup exit, they can certainly now concentrate on climbing up the table because they do have a possible outside push for a European place for next season. I think they're only 3 points off 7th. Yeah. As things stand. Cool, Nat. I mentioned injuries. Wolves have got some big ones, haven't they? People like Neto and even Dawson, who's, I think, been fantastic for them at the heart of their defence. And others. Obviously, Hwang has been injured as well. He led the line brilliantly. I think they're a dangerous side. I think from a team that most people felt start of the season could go down or be close to relegated. They've had a really good season, sitting where they are in the table. Looking at them now, just above If you just said we'll be less than 10 games to go, and they're above Newcastle and Chelsea in the Premier League. Just shows you how good of a season they've had.
Yeah, very much so.
Anyway.
Jimmy messaged us a little bit earlier on, and I think I'm really keen to get to this because in the Telegraph today, the headline reads, Cowans' cruel decline is sad backdrop to meeting of former sides. Gordon Cowans, Aston Villa legend, has moved into a nursing home amid his battle with dementia. He won the league title and European Cup with Villa and was only 61 when his Alzheimer's diagnosis was made in 2020. You played with him?
Yes, I was with Gordon, yeah. So, Sid. He was called Sid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the reason for
it's
Sid?
El Cid. You know the Roman. Unfortunately, but I think it's part of his character. Sid had quite a large nose, and it was
Right.
like El Cid, and
Gotcha.
a terrific man. I mean, I spoke to Gordon. I say Sid because I just think of him.
Of course.
I spoke to Gordon a couple of years ago. I knew he wasn't well, and obviously it's deteriorated. He was in quite good form then. What a good player. By the way, so underrated in that. I think he played about 10 times for England.
Yeah, that's right.
Teenager, 17, he was playing for Villa. He won the European Cup. He went to Italy, played. He had a double fracture of his leg in the early 80s, which he was lucky to return from.
To come back from that. Crikey.
Gordon was the link of everything when I joined Villa. Villa came second that season. Gordon was the link. And David Platt will tell you how much of a player he was for David, because he allowed David to make runs and Gordon could spot the ball. Either foot, by the way, Nat. He wasn't one-footed, Gordon. He could play both feet. Terrific footballer. Had an incredible time. He lived in the same road as me, Nat. I bought in a place called Warmley in the Midlands near Sutton Coldfield, and I lived at 5 Tubman Close, and Gordon lived at number 1. And next door was Tony Morley, who was the winger was the other side of me. And I'll tell you a quick story now. I get invited round Gordon's because my missus at the time, Sarah, she'd gone back to London, and Jackie, which was Gordon's wife then, said, "Would you like to come round for Sunday dinner?" So I said, OK, Jack, yeah. She said, well, Gordon will probably go and have a drink. As you did in them days, you go and have a pint on a Sunday, and it wasn't much of an issue. And Gordon went for a drink. She said, turn up at 2 o'clock. We'll have dinner about past. I turned up at 2 o'clock. Gordon's not there.
Uh-oh.
And she's not really bothered at that time. Goes to 10 past 2, 20 past 2. Where's Gordon?
Yeah.
Then she gets to 2:30. I've invited you round and he's still down the pub.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, don't worry, Jack, it's okay. Don't worry. And she's like, starting to get angrier and angrier. Well, it eventually turns up, Gordon comes in at 2:50 and you can see he's worse for wear. And he comes in, big smile on his face. All right, big man, all right, Cass, dinner. And Jack is, I've invited Cass round for dinner and you've turned up at 2:50 and dinner's meant to be 2:30. And I'm saying, don't worry, Jack, it's not a problem, we can eat. And all of a sudden, Gordon comes in the front room and said, she'll probably lose it in a minute. Again. Gosh. So I'm thinking, oh, no. All of a sudden, over the door slam, keys, car, revs out, drives off, goes away. She's left. Me and Gordon are just sitting there, and Gordon finds it funny. He said, don't worry, she'll be back soon. 10 minutes later, car comes back in, screeches in. I'm not serving him dinner. I promised him dinner at 2 o'clock. He's having his dinner. So anyway, dinner comes up. Fast forward and that, get to dessert. She dishes up an apple pie and brings, the pots of cream. The like them spray creams you get.
Oh, that squirty
yeah, the
whipped
squirty
cream.
one. She brings one of them out, and I put it on my apple pie. And as I said, Jack, this is off this cream. And as she goes to bend over and that, I go, dab it on her nose. Literally dab it on her nose. Well, Jackie gets the whole tin. The pot just can sprays it all over my head. I'm sitting in Gordon's house with a cream all over my head. She's laughing, saying, "You've just made my Sunday." She said, "I was really upset at you," and I'm thinking, yeah, you've made mine, Jack. I'm sitting here with a little dab of cream on your nose. I'm sitting with a whole head of cream. This is all round Gordon's on a Sunday. I've got great memories of Gordon Cowans, and he's still alive, and I wish him all the best because an absolutely spectacular man.
Yeah, well, very quickly in a statement released by the family, they say, considering all he faces, he is doing well, both physically and mentally. And they, in this article, in the Telegraph, apologies, they say he is still in good humour as well, but he has entered into a care facility.
He really is a Villa great.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.